Hi everyone, and welcome back to Manifestation Mondays. I am so sorry I was not able to get a video out last week. It was pretty chaotic for me, but and one thing I want to address today, as we're still cultivating this manifestation process. But for those who are not following me on Instagram, I did post a manifestation Monday post just about how to recreate our stories. So feel free to check that out at Deep Breath Healing. I think that will be beneficial as we go through this process. And this season of transition, like fall, is a time when we often feel those transitions and those changes taking place as we go towards the end of the year. So I just wanted to talk about that because sometimes those changes can rattle us to the point that we get off center, and it distracts us from really cultivating that manifestation momentum that we were creating. So I just really wanted to take some time to speak to that today. And like my intuition was really leading me to talk about how we find balance in kind of the transition and the chaos. And one of those ways to find balance is looking back at our story. What is the story that we've been telling ourselves about what's happening in our lives, whether it's in regards to career or relationships or family or what have you? What is the theme of those stories that comes back to us, that trigger those thoughts, especially those negative thoughts? Because we have the power to change our story at any time. We have the power to be aware of the negative thoughts that we're experiencing, that pop up in our head, and then ask the questions about where is this thought coming from. And it usually is rooted in our origin story, the narrative that we've told ourselves, our parents told us, our family told us, our society told us. Just like the whole thing about money doesn't grow on trees, instilling that notion that there's only so much for a few, that there is always going to be limitations and lack, and that's just not true. But it is true if you hold that as part of your belief system. So today I really wanted to focus on what does it look like when you're in between worlds, when you're in this state of being more aware of your negative thoughts and your story that's no longer serving you, and also feeling the shift to a more realistic story that's based in the truth of who you are as spirit and what you want to cultivate while you're here on this earthly plane, and what you want to experience out of it. And what do you do when you're in the middle of that? And one thing that you do is trust. It's just not you, that you have amazing spiritual forces on your behalf. You have God. However you ascribe to God, if you're Christian, then you know you have Jesus and the Holy Spirit. And whatever your practice is, it's really important to maintain that practice and have a spiritual practice that you can go back to, especially when you're in the middle of being in this unknown space, because in the unknown is where we tend to backtrack and go back to kind of the ego, back to our small thinking, back to those negative thoughts. Even if we feel like they don't serve us, they're familiar. And when we don't know and when we're in the mysterious, we often want to go back to what's familiar. So in order to not revert back to the old way of thinking, I encourage you, to establish your practice, whatever that is. So two practices. One, a self-care practice. How are you taking care of yourself? And not get caught up so much in the doing, which I found myself doing this week. But, I also felt that call to rest and to have fun, in spite of what is, happening around me. I don't have to allow it to happen to me. I don't have to internalize that things can happen outside of my sphere, but I don't have to make those things my truth. And so one of those ways of doing that and creating that boundary is having an amazing self-care practice, whatever it is that feeds your soul, whether that's a walk in the park, whether that is going to the spa, if it's journaling, if it's prayer, but whatever you feel like you need, if it's watching Netflix and drinking wine, like whatever it is you feel like you need that brings you back to a place of calm, a place of groundedness, that allows you just to breathe, to exhale. Those practices are essential right now. And then the second practice is like, what is your spiritual practice? And when I say spiritual, I'm not talking so much religious, because I know people ascribe to different things, but really, what is it that inspires you, that provides you peace, that provides you comfort? And that can be many things. And I just encourage you to develop a practice, whether that's meditation, 5 minutes, or if that's prayer, or if that's just sitting quietly or listening to music, sipping tea or coffee, whatever those few minutes you take for yourself, that you can be in the silence of all that is, and have that moment, because we're constantly bombarded by all of the stimuli that surround us. And whatever space you can cultivate for stillness and silence, where you can actually hear your inner voice, that is key right now, because tapping into that space allows you to tap into the inner wisdom that's inside of you, and allow you to get a new set of directions, a new way of navigating this path that isn't so egocentric, that is actually very intentional, and causes you to move towards where you want to be and not go back to where you were. And I think that is the call right now. The call is like feeling, I know for me, I don't just speak for myself, it's this in-between space that we're in. Kind of, I know and aware of the thoughts that have gotten me to where I am. And also, I'm thankful for every experience that has gotten me here, because it's making me who I need to be in order to pursue and live out my dream. And so I'm thankful for both of those areas, and I'm also going to be present in the in-between, because I know it's cultivating me and leading me. I know there's manifestation happening in the spiritual realm that will manifest in the physical realm during this in-between state. But just being laser focused and staying in the space where I am creating in the present moment, because that's where the creation begins. So that would be my encouragement, and being able to practice those things and to stay in that allows us to stay in the alignment of God, allows us to stay in the alignment and the momentum of manifesting what it is. Because if we can imagine it, our imagination is powerful. Imagination and co-creation are hand in hand. So if we can imagine what it is we're trying to manifest, then it is possible. And so we just want to stay aligned within that realm of full power, confidence, and peace within ourselves, that we can continue to stay on task and not get distracted by what is happening in our outside world. So I hope that helps. I also think that, again, the focus on the story is very essential. What is your narrative? Like, what is the story you're telling yourself right now? I know mine has gone back to feeling like I'm not enough, which is a common one. But I also recognize the mastery that I've achieved, like throughout the years that I have dedicated myself to a practice of being better, of cultivating myself in every way, especially spiritually. That's really important. So I kind of pat myself on the back for the mastery that I have gleaned so far, knowing there's more to learn, but knowing that for what I want to do right now, I have all that I need to do it. And you do too. Your experiences, everything you've gone through has given you everything you need to get to where you want to be. But just rely on this present moment and trust in God, trust in yourself, trust in your gifts and talents, trust in your innate ability to create your reality, because you have the ability to do so. And we're learning day by day how to do it. You have already been a practitioner of this for a very long time. A lot of times we just don't have the awareness of it, but we can do this thing. We can do it together. And so I'm just here to motivate you to clean house. It's just time to let go of all the negative beliefs that has us tied into an old story. And it's time to close the book on that story. It's time to close the book on that chapter, to write that epilogue and start the next sequel. And the sequel that you're starting right now is the one that's giving you the energy and the momentum to create that dream you've had for years. And so continue to keep going, even if it's been a rough week or two, or you haven't been journaling, or you haven't been meditating. It's fine. It's all good. Each day is a new day to start again. So stay encouraged. If there's anything I can do to assist you, feel free to leave a comment. I'm so grateful for those who have been watching and watching just it slowly expand. I'm back. I had to take a pause for the cause. But again, continue to practice whatever you need to in order to stay within that alignment. Know that you are fully supported, that you have others that are in your same space that are trying to cultivate the same things. And so we're going to manifest together. I will continue to post. I will continue to encourage you. And again, I'm going to come up with another set of series too, just to address our intuition as well, and how we can utilize our intuition in helping us get towards the path we want to be on. So I look forward to seeing you next week, if not before. Take great care of yourself, get some good rest, and just imagine the possibilities for whatever it is you want at this season, and then just start thinking about what that plan looks like. And that's what we're going to manifest together. Take great care of yourself. See you soon.